let thy knife chip and shatter. This video is sponsored by Austin Butler's voice. You thought he was stuck in Elvis mode? Think again. Dune Part 2 was directed by Denis Villeneuve and released in theaters this week. I got the director's name right. I was practicing that for the review. Alright, so this movie is very big. It's a lot to talk about, so don't be surprised if this movie review is pretty long, okay? I wouldn't be surprised if this is near 20 minutes. We have a lot to unpack here, okay? So, before I give my thoughts on Dune Part 2, I just want to let you guys know there will be spoilers, obviously. Go right there for the spoilers section. This will also contain spoilers, obviously, for Dune Part 1. I don't know why you would be here for Dune Part 2 if you didn't watch Dune Part 1, but regardless, this will contain spoilers for both of those movies. So, getting into my thoughts on the first film, I think I should give. I really enjoy it. I give it like a solid 8. It's like, it's slow in bits, but, you know, it's all building up to this grand Part 2, because, you know, the first one obviously did a great job of building the world and the characters. It gets you very immersed. Like, you are on Arrakis. You are in the sand dunes. You are running from worms. You are in the battles. You are truly immersed. Denis does a great job with that. And I have to say, once again, for Part 2, he does that beautifully. The direction here, pitch perfect. And the cinematography, they might as well just give him the, they might as well just give the cinematographer the Academy Award next year. Like, just don't even have the cinematography award next year. Give it to the cinematographer for this movie. But yeah, Part 1 I really did enjoy. Part 2, going into this, I was really excited, and I'm happy to say the excitement paid off. Dune Part 2 is just, it's an absolute spectacle, okay? Christopher Nolan called it The New Empire Strikes Back, and he is absolutely right. This hits it's gosh, I can't even describe it into words. It's a cinematic event that you just have to see. You have to witness this. Timothée Chalamet, okay? He takes the character of Paul. In Part 1, he was struggling with his past. He wasn't sure where he was headed next. He was having visions of a future that he didn't really want to follow. He didn't want to be the ruler of Arrakis. He didn't want to take over the throne. He didn't want any of that. And he has these visions, and he's kind of fighting against his destiny. And in this movie, he gives in to his visions towards the end. I'm not going to spoil anything past that, obviously, but he has visions in this movie that will shock you, and the direction that his character goes, he is a changed character from when we first met him in Part 1, obviously. So the character development, 10 out of 10 across the board. Then you have Austin Butler's character, Fade. He is, of course, a Harkonnen. He is the nephew of the Baron, and he is brutal in this movie. He takes the Elvis voice and just discards that right away and embraces this new, violent, feral character of Fade. And he loves to kill. He is ready for a fight. He loves to be honorable within his fights, but he also loves to, you know, just straight up just cut people's throats at a moment's notice. I mean, he is, like I said, terrifying in this role. You're telling this love story amidst all of this other stuff that's happening between, of course, Paul and Shani, and Zendaya plays this beautifully as well. She's a fantastic actress, and she delivers in this movie once again. She obviously cares about Paul. She doesn't want to see him get hurt, but she's seeing, you know, that there are some things coming into his mind. It's conflicting him whether or not he wants to be honorable or whether or not he wants to be a dictator. He wants to be, you know, the ruler that his mother wants him to be. And Rebecca Ferguson's character, Jessica, she really goes on a crazy journey in this movie. Now, her story isn't as engaging to me as the others. That's just one minor nitpick I have, is I wasn't, like, super interested in her side of the story, because she gets accepted, obviously, into the Fremen along with Paul, and even though he has to go through a lot of training at the beginning of this film, because he's only just proved his worth from killing Jamis in the last one, or Jamis, sorry. He's only done that to really prove his worth, so he has to do a few tasks in this movie. Of course, if you've seen the trailer, he has to ride the worm. That sequence is badass. I love that. Every fight sequence in this movie, they upped the scope from part one. Part one, obviously, you had the worms coming up and eating, whole, structures and people and stuff like that. In this movie, we're riding them. We have a full-on war breaking out. We have a Coliseum scene with Austin Butler's character absolutely nailing that. And it's massive in scale, even more than the first, which is impossible because the first one is such huge in scale, such a huge film as well in scale. Denise really immerses you in the world of Arrakis, like I said about part one. He does that again in this movie, because you're getting to be on. I mean, you feel like you are in it. You are tense. You are on the edge of your seat during these battle sequences, during these moments where the Fremen are, fighting back against the Harkonnens, and, even going up against the Emperor's, troops, and stuff like that. You have Christopher Walken in this movie as the Emperor, which is pretty cool. I wish there was a bit more of him. We don't get as much of him and Florence Pugh in this movie as I would have wanted, but obviously, I'll just say right off the bat, there will be a Dune Part 3. There will be a third one, probably called Dune Messiah, I believe. There will be a Part 3, so we'll see more of them than that. They did serve their purpose enough in this movie, I guess, past my criticisms, because they are going to be in Part 3. So I guess I shouldn't criticize their lack of being in the film that much. I'm going to go ahead and just get into spoilers, because there's a lot to talk about, and I don't want to just overcrowd you guys with this section and then get into spoilers and dump even more onto you, because there's a lot to talk about. So, I'm going to give Dune Part 2, for right now, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Why am I not giving it a 10? Because I need time to sit with it. I'm going to obviously watch it again once it comes out on digital. I just know it's going to make me love this movie even more to bring it to a 10 out of 10, because honestly, if this movie is not within the top 10 best of the year, then I don't know what will, because this is going to have to be a crazy year to top this movie. As of right now, Dune Part 2 is my favorite film of the year. So, I'm going to get into spoilers. Join me there, where we're going to discuss a lot of crazy stuff. So, entering spoilers, Paul is going down a very dark path in this movie. So, you have Javier Bardem's character, of course, Stilgar. He is trying to teach Paul the Fremen ways, and we're picking up, like, right after the end of the first one, because they're carrying Jamas's body with them, and they go to their hideout, and all these people are looking at Paul like, you monster, I can't believe you murdered him, you don't belong with us, you don't deserve to know our ways. And Paul is like, look, I know I'm royalty, I am technically the Duke of Arrakis, but I really don't want to be. I don't want that power. I just want to fight with you guys. And Javier Bardem, Stilgar, is just constantly pushing this idea of he is this religious figure. This is the chosen one that we have been waiting for to rise up and lead us into the fight against the Harkonnens and against the Emperor to eventually end up taking over Arrakis, which is not really something that Shani wants. She's very against that ideology that Paul is this chosen one. She just kind of... She has feelings for him, obviously. They have a romance in the movie. But she doesn't want him to turn into something he's not. She's like, I'll always be loyal to you as long as you remain who you are. And Paul is trying his best, man. He's constantly getting these visions that if he goes south and he takes a certain route in his role in the Fremen, and he will decimate the galaxy, because he sees in his visions that someone is leading him down this path, and if he goes there, then millions upon millions of people will die because of him. And he sees later on in the movie that the person leading him down this path is Jessica, Rebecca Ferguson's character. And she drinks this water of life that she gets from the worms. We see how that's made. They have this pool, and they kill this little baby worm, and they get this blue liquid out of it, and that's what she drinks to kind of become, I forget the term, I forget what it is, but she's a very important figure amongst the Fremen now after she drinks this. And she's constantly, pushing for Paul to rise up and, take charge, be the leader that they want him to be. And he's like, no, I want to be equal to them. I don't want to, boast that I am royalty. I don't want to lead an army. I just want to fight for these people, and I want to get revenge for what happened to my father and our family name. I don't want to be some big religious figure that everyone is bowing down to. I just want to be... He just wants to be normal. Unfortunately for Paul, though, later on in the movie, they are forced to move south, and he can't do that. He's like, look, if I go south, a lot of bad stuff's going to happen. So he goes the other direction, but still ends up getting the water of life. I'm sorry if I'm getting that wrong. I've got a lot of details in my head right now about this movie. The same liquid that Lady Jessica drinks early in the movie, she gives that to him, and he drinks it, and this is what kind of sets him in motion to be the figure that Javier Bardem wants him to be, because he was like, no one would have survived that unless he is the true Messiah, the leader that we need. And, that gets all the Fremen super excited, and Chani's pissed off that he did that, so she gets upset, and, oh man, it just sets Paul on a really dark path here, because he starts getting a little bit more greedy. He starts getting, like, really, really war hungry. Like, by the end of the movie, right, he has, hundreds of Fremen attacking the Emperor's base. They break down his shields. They're riding the sandworms through there. They have got him pincered. They've got him, pretty much barred in at all sides. And he's like, listen, I'm gonna fight you, and I'm gonna take over, and I'm gonna rule, and I'm gonna marry your daughter and take over the throne. And he says that right as Chani is in the same room, and you see her like she is pissed, dude. And I'm excited because at the end of the movie she goes off on her own. So I'm thinking we're gonna follow her a lot more in the next movie. Hopefully, we'll see what she does. So basically, he goes up to the Emperor. He's like, "Look, I'm fighting you. I'm taking the throne. I'm marrying your daughter." And the Emperor puts in Fade, Austin Butler, in his place. So they have a fight. Really great fight. Probably my favorite scene of the film. And it's really tense. They're swinging their daggers. And Austin Butler, Fade's biggest weakness is that he wants an honorable fight. Okay, he loves to fight, and he wants it to be honorable, so he feels like he's done something at the end of it. And he gets Paul, like he stabs him pretty good. But in a callback to the previous film when he was training with Josh Brolin, Paul gets Fade in the chest and manages to kill him, that was a great ending. Great callback to the first film. I love that. So, that was cool to see. And then after he kills Fade, he's like, look, I am Paul Atreides, Duke of Arrakis. And then then he's also like, I am, the so-and-so of the Fremen. I can't remember the name. Lasarib? Something like that. It's some kind of weird name like that. And he's like, he is embracing not only his position in the Fremen, but his royalty position now. So he has lost pretty much all of his humanity. Because he's like, you know what? The Emperor, I'm going to take over. And they get news. Like Josh Brolin, Gurney, he tells him, he's like, the other houses aren't going to go for that. They said that they will not stand for your rise to power. And Paul's like, oh, that's alright. Fuck it. I'm going to take over the entire galaxy. So by the end, he's sending out ships to go fight. This is crazy. He is starting an intergalactic war. And I just can't wait to see what happens, guys. Oh, man. There's so much more I can unpack. Hope you guys enjoyed nonetheless. I really hope you guys loved Dune Part 2 as much as I did. I just think it's a phenomenal, it's everything I wanted it to be and more. It is one of the best sci-fi movies I've ever seen. I'm not joking. So, nonetheless, if you guys want to see more reviews like this, let me know down in the comments below. Leave a like and subscribe. Tell me what you thought of Dune Part 2 and the first one. What are you looking forward to in Dune Messiah? And, man, I'm just so excited to see where this story goes, where our characters go, where Paul's journey goes. I was terrified for him at the end of the movie because he is a powerful figure now, and that's scary. He didn't want that power at the beginning of this movie, but that drastic change that he made over the course of the film, oh gosh, it's fantastic. I could go on about this film all day, but I'll let you guys go. The next movie review we've got on the table is Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate, which I'm sure is going to be a 10 out of 10. I'll see you there, and thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.